A company or the government? How does that work? I'm actually kind of curious.
No, sure. Well, it was a company that approached me, but usually these housing associations, they get grants and funded from the government.
Okay.
So this company approached me and said, I want to take on your hotel. I want to rent the whole thing. And I was like, okay, let's talk. And he offered me, very, very decent, very good money for it. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, let's go through the terms. And he sent me a heads of terms. And the heads of terms, went over all the points. They were going to be 100% responsible for maintenance and all that. It was a 10-year, was it a 10-year or a 7-year? Long lease. Wow. And then it said that when it talked about what it would be used for, it said asylum seekers. Mm. And I contacted them and said, oh, what's the crack here? He's like, oh, well, yeah, we've got, government and this is what we do. And I thought, man, listen, I'm not like, I'm reasonably balanced in my political stance. And I understand that things are complicated and nuanced. But for that hotel in that area, I just didn't want to rent it to asylum seekers because I didn't feel like it was fitting with my vision. And so I said no on principle, even though the money was good. And I got a lot of flack for it. And a lot of people, I was called a lot of names and stuff. And sometimes when you're trolled a lot on social media, I know I've got thick skin, but everyone's human at the end of the day. And if lots of people are saying lots of nasty stuff about you all the time, it's a bit like, ugh. And I was getting a lot of hate over this. And it didn't bother me, but, it's not nice. And then when Elon saw the story and actually backed me up and was like, this good man, it kind of made me think, sometimes we worry about the opinions of internet trolls on the internet who are anonymous and whatever. But when you've got the richest man in the world saying that, for me, it was really cool. And I was very pleased. So that's like my claim to fame now.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think that in the next decade or two, it's already been happening for the last 2 decades, but I believe that all good people of sound mind and good heart who are genuinely seeking and speaking the truth will find each other. All of them. Yeah. Like, I've known who you are for over 5 years. And when your team reached out about doing a podcast, like, I knew I'd meet you at some point. It just, it just seems inevitable. Even though we're in different fields, we've come from different walks of life or whatever. But if you keep putting out your signal and you keep talking, I keep putting out my signal and I keep talking. Somehow, some way, through the power of the internet and social media, our paths will inevitably cross. And that's why I said, I think you will meet Elon, because it's remarkable, especially over the past 7 years for me. I've connected with, just across the entire world, if I just think of the people I've connected with or podcasted with or just met in person, it's incredible. Like, that theory is just happening in a way it's never happened in human history. People used to be far more isolated. If you were over in the UK, you're over in the UK. If someone's in the Middle East, they're in the Middle East. If someone's the ability for all these people to broadcast and
it's funny you say that, because
remarkable.
One of the really interesting things is, for years, people have always labelled me as controversial. Mm-hmm. And I've always said to people, even when I'm sat on podcasts with people and they'll introduce me and they'll be a little bit hostile, I'm quite used to that. and they'll just introduce me. You said to me, didn't you? How do you want to be introduced? I'm like, whatever you want, brother. I'll do an Eminem. I am whatever you say I am. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Yeah. And I've always asked people when they've said that, what have I actually said that's controversial? Exactly. I'm curious. What's controversial? Mm-hmm. Is it something I've said? Is it something? And there's no answer. Yeah. It's just like, you're just controversial. But I don't actually, I might have done a few, funny videos or humorous things. But generally, like, what actually is controversial? I'm just a businessman who makes a lot of money, who shares and documents it on YouTube. I'm really curious, and no one's giving me the answer. But I do feel that now there's been a turn in the last sort of like 12 months or so. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, oh, actually, I'm not controversial.
Yeah, I miss it a little sometimes.